Hi, this is Laurie Yoon from Dutchy. This is my post vlog for lesson 11 of C2 Eagle. That would be chapter 8, rice patties and math tests. This week I asked the students to create a PowerPoint and a video, and I asked the students to offer solutions to improve the math performance and motivation of students in countries whose agriculture is more mechanically oriented. And they had to do this in two parts. They had to create a new numbering system for the English language as well as motivation strategies to keep students working hard and persisting through difficult problem solving.
Our dynamic new number system will be helpful for 21st century learners living in countries of machine-oriented agriculture.
I'm your teacher from Korea. Nice to meet you.
Hi teacher, nice to meet you too.
Today we are going to learn about your numbering system.
Some English students or children find it hard to memorize the English numbers. The reason for that is English numbers are illogical and irrational. On the other hand, Korean numbering system uses a pattern and has the concept of math within it. But English numbering system has no pattern, is a bit hard to pronounce, and it even takes more time to say each number word. So we changed it into the following ways.
First, I'll start with the things that worked well. For my classes, I started the project within the personal project pages as usual. One of the things that worked well in my class was getting the students to create motivational strategies, and I'll explain how I went about doing that. So on page 5 and 6 of the CSLP book, I asked the students to compare skill-oriented rice agriculture-based countries to the mechanically oriented agricultures that are usually countries in the West. So on this page, it was a great opportunity to start a discussion talking about the differences between the people within the two countries and the cultural differences as well. I think that having the discussion here really allowed the students to better understand and better develop their speeches and their introduction and conclusion to explain why a motivation strategy might work in certain cultures. And the reason I really like this was because one of the problems that I'm noticing in my classes is students are becoming a little bit lazy, especially as the term's going on. This week, for some reason, a lot of my students did not have their reading done. So having them focus on certain pages like this quote on page 5, I think it really helped them to understand the concepts and then incorporate it into their project, because it's important to have the students reflect on the lessons from the book and somehow take their opinions, collaborate together as a group, and give the output on their project. That is the main goal of the project. To extend from that, on page 8 of the CSLP book, I added some quotes from page 289 of Outliers. It says, "Students willing to concentrate and sit long enough and focus on answering every single question do the best job of solving math problems." And then I added another quote from page 290 of Outliers. "The best at math are cultures that put highest emphasis on effort and hard work." So the reason I like putting quotes like this, like I said, when students don't have their Outliers book read and they come to class and they don't really know what's going on, I don't want them to lose out and just sit there and let other students talk for them. So at least putting these, I feel, key quotes into media cards and then incorporating them into the CSLP book, at least the students will have them on their tabs. It'll prompt a discussion. So for my class, this really did lead to a good discussion about how the tradition of wet rice farming led to a culture where academic performance was really high. So this, I think, really allowed the students that didn't even read the book to understand the concept, and then we got some debate going, talking about the benefits and the drawbacks of such a culture and how those types of culture have interactions and communicate, and how that all influences one's motivation or determination to finish such things as math problems, and then how we can take certain things and incorporate them into other cultures that are mechanically oriented. So I think my biggest issue for this project was asking the students to make changes to the English numbering system. In my first Eagle C2 class, I just asked the students to start on page 3 of the CSLP book in the section where I asked the students to write down the number words in English that they feel they would like to make changes to, and then ask the students to just brainstorm words that were difficult for them to learn when they were learning English. But it kind of was a big chaotic moment in that first class because each group had such debate over what numbers they wanted to change, how they wanted to change it, how to make the English numbering system more regular. So it was really disorganized and stressful, and I had some students just wanting to give up because their group just could not agree. So to alleviate that problem for the next 2 classes that I had, I created a handout. So I listed all the number words from 1 to 100, and I separated them into single digits, double digits, triple digits, etc. And this way the students, they were able to really look at the number words and see why it is irregular, because they could see the patterns in the numbers. I gave a sheet to every student, and I asked them to take a highlighter and just highlight all the words that they found that were not following the pattern, or words that were difficult to pronounce, or words that they had trouble learning, and then change it on their own. And they were allowed to change the entire number. They were allowed to take the decade and switch it from front to back. They were allowed to pretty much do anything to the number words, but they had to make the numbering system more regular and more logical. So that was the main goal. Having the students to do it independently first. I gave them like 5 minutes to work on it by themselves. And then I asked the students to then share and compile all the changes that they made as a group, and then pick out the most common ones, the best ideas. And that worked a lot better. But even still, I had to walk around and mediate and help the groups decide. So overall, I do think that the students made really cool projects where the students could reflect, and I'm seeing progress in the way students incorporate the different terms and concepts into their speeches, so it's quite exciting. Anyways, I hope everyone had a good time this week with their projects, and I will check in again week 13, the last week for Eagle C2 classes. See you later.